know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Greetings to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ, the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinTheMorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
Liberty?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
You can catch all the madness, what Mike G and Philly Chris are up to throughout the week on YouTube, throughout Twitter, Facebook, and all of our social media platforms. As I understand, we also have an account on the Instant Grams website. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody to listen to check us out at MikeGinTheMorning.com. I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams, bringing you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 a.m. until 11. We've got the Kinetic Faith with friend of the Mike G in the Morning program, Rick Crump, preaching value, service, and order, coming at you weekdays at 11 a.m. We've got the one, the only Dan the Man Bongino, coming at you weekdays right at noon. Intellectual giant Ben Shapiro brings you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, a welcomed addition to the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles bringing you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
I want to remind our listeners that today's program, Mike G in the Morning, is sponsored by Elite Tactical Armory, your firearm storage solution in the Lehigh Valley. Do you know what a commercial armory is? Well, you should. Fairly recently, the Pennsylvania government has recognized commercial armories as an acceptable mechanism for off-site storage solutions. There are many reasons why you need to store your firearms off-site under certain circumstances. Perhaps you're going out of town for a while. Maybe your kid's on probation. Perhaps it's your ex-wife accusing you again. Or maybe you've just run out of room for all your precious babies. Either way, Elite Tactical Armory is the storage solution for you. You can check them out at EliteTacticalArmory.com or PACommercialArmory.com. That's EliteTacticalArmory.com or PACommercialArmory.com. Because it's important to support those who support freedom. And be sure and tell them Mike G sent you. Now, Philly Chris, I've been looking forward to seeing you in G.I. Jane Part 2.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I trimmed up today. I'm all set. I'm ready to go, brother.
Is that coming out soon?
Hold on. Am I supposed to slap you right now?
You're gonna come up and slap me. Hey, keep my bald head out of your effing mouth, right?
Right. Maybe I'll show up at one of your seminars and just walk up on you.
Just walk up. We've got to talk about it today. I'm almost sick of hearing. I'm almost sick. I am sick of hearing about it.
Sure.
But the day after it took place, I don't think I was on a single phone call all day, regardless of the purpose of the phone call, without that coming up.
Hmm.
Everywhere you look on social media, it's popping up. Everywhere on the news, it's popping up. It is the topic of discussion. Now,
Yeah,
the
it's quite
entertainer
the
in me,
distraction, isn't it? Quite the distraction.
well, that is 100% correct, because nobody's paying attention to literally anything else because of this, right?
Right.
So that's one way you can look at it.
Hmm.
It's a good excuse for them to take some of the heat off of some of the things going on. But the entertainer in me says, well, if this was not staged, then it is one of the great opportunities of all time in entertainment. Because when you have people's attention like this, and people are totally magnetized
Mm.
to this few seconds in time,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's almost bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, has nobody else ever slapped anybody? I guess it's not at the Oscars on a stage like that, right?
I have a theory.
Yeah. We'll have to.
But people slap each other all the time, don't they? Not to say that it's right. I'm not saying
like-
it's
I'd
a
like
good
to
thing.
I'd like to slap Russ.
But if the world
Get in line. There's
last
a ton of
last
people
week,
that
I think
would
we
love
all
to
wanted
do
to slap him.
that. Oh.
So we've got some of our great listeners in the comments here popping up. Thank you everybody for joining us. Rita's with us. Says I'm already buckled up and ready to enjoy the ride. Give her a hey now, Philly Chris.
Hey now. Hey now.
We've got Len Larson. I believe that's Len Larson #1, the original.
Larson,
Give him a hey
yeah.
now.
Hey now, Len Larson. Hey now.
Len Larson has a theory, it seems. It says a certain laptop.
Oh, a certain laptop. Yeah.
I was on-
Yeah, that's,
I was
that
on
might
track
be
with the
news
same
again,
theory,
but,
you guys.
Know, people are so consumed with the slappage. So yeah. Hmm.
We had this discussion on the program when the laptop was initially released.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out how, in any way, shape, or form, you could possibly come up with a scenario that the laptop was Russian disinformation as they claimed, right?
Right. Right.
You remember that? We were sitting there at the North Pole for the debates, and
Yeah.
we were trying to figure out how could, because they weren't claiming that the contents were inaccurate or they were fabricated. They did not claim that in any way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
And that would seem like the natural thing to do.
Yeah.
Remember when that ridiculous stuff came out when Trump was inaugurated about some stuff that may have happened over in Russia, what they were claiming?
That could be literally
right.
anything.
I don't know how I could describe that on the air. It's
Might be tricky. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I don't know if we can describe that on the air, but Trump's response was he came out and said, "Come on, that's ridiculous. That never happened. I'm a germaphobe. I'm a germaphobe. Of course that didn't happen." And you would think that if this whole big guy gets 10% and everything were inaccurate, that somebody would go out there and be like, "Ah, come on, guys. This is obviously totally bogus. This is obviously fabricated. None of that ever happened. These are not real emails." We never saw that in any way, shape, or form, did we?
No, I don't recall that happening. That's for sure.
Because they would have been caught, right?
Right.
But instead, the media did the legwork for them.
Mm-hmm.
Went out and said, "Oh, we're not going to report on this. This may be Russian disinformation." How could it possibly be Russian disinformation? We couldn't really come up with a scenario. I think ultimately my guess was, I figured it out. The only way it could have been Russian disinformation is if the Russians mailed Hunter Biden a package containing a laptop and a bunch of crack, which in turn encouraged him to do all the unspeakable things found on that laptop.
Right. Maybe they filmed a movie with him in Russia called The Crack Addict or something. We released the footage, you know.
We didn't learn those words when I was learning Russian
Yeah.
in high school and college. So I don't even know how to the proper translation for crack addict, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got to figure that one out.
There is no the though.
No
The word the
in Russian.
not a thing.
Okay.
You ever speak to
Da.
people who Russian is their first language? How they're very direct and to the point.
They can be direct. Yeah. Yeah. I was
And
talking
the
to some
language-
Russians earlier about some content for the show. So yeah.
The language lines up with that. Like,
Okay.
Kind
Gotcha.
of like, why are we wasting our time with this word the? We know what
Right.
we would understand what you meant if you didn't use the word the.
Interesting. Okay.
Don't use it. What else we got here? Gary says, "Hey now, give him a hey now."
Hey now. Hey now. Got a little pause. in
Rusty says, could this have been so staged that it steals the spotlight away from the laptop? Of course, these people, especially Will, they paid many monies to act.
there.
Many
Yeah,
monies.
quite a bit.
Many monies.
Many.
Many monies.
Loads of money.
But the entertainer in me is that, if WrestleMania is coming up this weekend, could you imagine if they had announced, okay, in response to what took place on the grandest stage of them all, the stupendous WrestleMania. I could hear Vince McMahon saying, WrestleMania. And of Chris Rock and Will Smith at WrestleMania.
That would be pretty sick.
Who would
Yeah.
not watch that? Who would not watch that?
Oh,
Right.
man.
No, I think people would tune in. That's for sure. Who knows? Maybe there's still time
It's
for that.
not
to
even
happen,
on
yeah.
pay-per-view anymore. Back in the day, you had to
Mhm.
spend like $50 or $60 to get it on pay-per-view. Now it's just on Peacock, one of the streaming services, which I believe is like $10 a month. So you could pay $10 for the month and get WrestleMania.
Okay.
I
Hmm.
think you'd probably have as many people watching that WrestleMania if you had Chris Rock and Will Smith at this point,
Yeah.
right, this coming Saturday and Sunday, as watch the Super Bowl.
Probably, dude. That's a good idea. They should do that.
Wildly entertaining. They're losing tons of money if they don't. If Will and Chris did not choose to do that, it's just a terror. It's a tragedy almost.
Yeah, it's a wasted opportunity for sure.
Oh, unbelievably wasted opportunity. Liberty, I hear you. You want to get involved in the conversation. You want to talk about WrestleMania?
No, I don't know. Philly Chris sent it to me over the weekend, and I just could not stop watching everything like everybody else. And I really don't like to get dragged into these like stupid celebrity things because, as my pastor used to call it, he calls it horrorwood, not Hollywood, horrorwood. But so they're just in their own little bubble. You know what I'm saying? But there is a lot of fallout from it. I don't know, and I just feel like it was a teaching moment. About just like morals and different things. And my first thought was that slap was not for Chris Rock. That slap was for August, who is the gentleman, I guess you can call him, that Jada, his wife, had an affair with. And it's not only the affair, because, okay, humans do things, we're all sinners, but obviously it's not right. But anyway, so it's beyond that. It was the way that she went on that show called Red Table Talk, and she went there, and it just showed our society kind of in a whole. It was kind of like the news and media just trying to normalize like what they have. They have this like open marriage and the cheating and the affair, and she completely demasculated him. She was saying she was excusing the affair. She was saying it was okay. And his face just said it all. It was like, is this like the feminist thing I have to go along with, that like, this is okay? I don't know what goes on
Is
behind
that the famous
closed doors.
entanglement interview? I remember that word, entanglement.
Entanglement.
Do you remember that?
That was the word she used. And like, there's nothing worse than if somebody does something, wrong in a marriage or anywhere, and they just completely excuse it. But even more so on the world stage. And he just looked like a puppy. His face just showed it all. And so if my first thing is like anti kind of feminism view that I have had is just like, you don't do that you to man or woman. You just don't do that. You apologize and move on. But they continued with this lifestyle, like this open marriage thing. And I don't know. Anyway, I tweeted about it, and now it looks like my account, I don't know if it's my account suspended, but I just,
For
if it
saying
was
what? What
real-
did you say that was
You're
no
so
good?
bad. You're so bad, Liberty.
I just said that slap was not for Chris Rock. And like I added, at Chris Rock, like I just knew it wasn't for him. And I don't like to get involved in people's marriages because it's their private business, and we all, everybody falls short in their own way. It's not that. It's just that it's just like her excusing it. And I just felt like he just looked so demasculated there. Like she looked at him and
What is
just
that called? Is that called something in psychology?
I was saying, I forgot the word I used. It's completely, I don't know. I went blank now. I've been saying it all week. Basically, she put it on like her feelings, his feelings for August, she put on Chris Rock. So the poor guy, he took what should have been for somebody else, but it was just more than that. It was just the excusing of it, what she did to men.
Is it
and I just feel like,
misdirected or something like that? Was it the word?
Yeah. I think I know what you
don't
mean. I
want
can't
blank now,
remember.
but yeah, it's like literally it was not for him. And I think that it's just what women are doing to men in our society. It really drives me nuts because they're putting this marriage.
None of the men in the Mike G in the morning family. Let's
right.
make that
That's
clear.
Right. Let's definitely clarify that, Liberty.
Say that again.
So we've got some great stuff in the comments going on right now. And Jeremy says, I don't think anyone wants to fight Will over all this. He's a broken man after his wife basically told the world he's a cuckold. I feel sorry for the guy. Not that what he did was okay. And Rusty says they're in an open marriage. How does one have an affair in that context? Jeremy
was it
says,
openly open though before?
I think he found out after the fact.
When was it
Oh,
open?
man.
No, because
He's
if
like,
you
yeah,
read
we're
their
in an
body,
open marriage. He's like, we are.
if you read their body language, guys, if anybody watches that, I put it in the doc, but you don't have to go through it and watch it. But if you do watch that Red Table Talk, I find that fascinating because it just she was trying to push it on him like it was okay, and it looked like they had some kind of agreement, like, okay, I'm just gonna go along with this, but it's a natural instinct. You don't go along with that. You can't go. It's not God's plan for us. Okay. God's plan was not for that. And so you're going to face consequences. And that's exactly what happened. It's played out in the world stage. That's how I feel. It was just, it's not God's.
He took it out on Chris Rock. He wanted to slap this other guy in the face.
Yeah, but she tried. Yeah. And she's trying to make it okay. She's trying to sell it to herself. And sell it to him. And it just.
Is this why it's so popular, though? Is this why everybody's talking about it? Because there's so many layers to it? Because another layer that we haven't even discussed so far is the fact that she's apparently got this illness, which is why she shaves her head.
Right.
And
there's a clip of him making fun of somebody years ago who has. Did you guys see that clip? He was on a late night show.
Really?
I don't know if we could find that clip. Though. Maybe our producer could look for it while we're talking amongst ourselves. But yeah, did anybody see that? Liberty, did you see that?
Brian's chiming in. Give Brian a hey now. Give Brian a hey now.
Hey now, Brian. Hey now.
He says Jada called an entanglement. She didn't call it an affair. What a cop out.
Yep.
Brian, I don't know if you saw the video, but Chris filmed a video earlier today over at the tobacco company in Lemoyne. Yeah, might have just missed you. But yeah, we had a
quick knife fight in the back. But basically, as soon as I saw, and let me put that into context. As soon as Brian pulled his knife out, I just ran out the emergency exit in the back. So
we were fighting about
that was
knives.
The only winning scenario there. I was like, oh, gotta go. Exit stage. Right. I slapped somebody on the way out, but it wasn't Brian.
The term is displaced anger. That was the term I kept saying.
Displaced anger. Yeah. He took it out on. Or Chris Rock.
Guys, Chris took it like a champ.
Well,
do we want to just watch it? Do we want to just watch the thing?
Hands are behind the back, right? Okay, yeah I guess
this is why I think it might be a little staged too. Because, but anyway, let's check it out. We should watch it.
That's the uncensored version. Fair warning. If anybody has kids around, it is uncensored. Russ is going to censor it later.
S word, F word. So if you're not watching or listening over the airwaves, and you're participating in the live stream, or if you're watching the live stream after the fact, it's no longer live stream at that point. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah.
Then you will hear the F word and the S word. So fair warning to everybody. Go ahead.
Okay.
And my apologies, Brian. It was a last minute thing, but next time, brother. Next time we got to meet up.
Okay, this is for me for editing.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Russ.
Tonight, Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Look at how happy he is. He finds it comical.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Indeed.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking
I'm going to, okay? I could, okay.
There's so many avenues to go here.
Greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
So he found it real comical at first, and this is what most people talk about. He had a big smile on his face. He thought it was funny. He looked over at his wife and said, "Uh-oh, I better go do something about this." The reason
He was
I think it's
laughing,
staged.
She did an eye roll, right? That's
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it. And for anybody who's listening over the airways, they didn't see the slap take place, but you heard what led up to the slap,
Right.
and you can tell when he did slap him because he says, "Will Smith just slapped the S word at him."
So
Yes, he did.
the main reason I think it was staged is because Will's a big dude. He probably has big muscles. Okay, he's like 6'3". He's as tall as I am. You guys, well, I don't know. I guess listeners haven't seen me, but I'm also 6'3". So I'm a big dude. He's a big dude by comparison. You know.
You're talking about your width, though, Russ, not your height.
Well, but okay, both in
Sorry.
tallness and my waistband. But he's a lot more
Each
muscular.
butt cheek is 63 pounds.
Sorry, I feel bad.
Anyway,
one.
so
Not
if
really,
Will
but-
Smith wanted to hurt him, if he wanted to like he could knock him out. Like he could have just there were a number of things Will could have done if he really wanted to hurt Chris. I think this was a stunt.
Mm.
What do you think?
His
Mike?
hands are behind his. Chris Rock's hands are behind his back the whole way. Like
Yeah.
even the hand goes up and everything.
Did he back
Which-
up though? Did he take a step back? The way the camera cuts, which might be the way that the Guardian, which
You're
is
the
our
one in
source for
control
this.
of footage, my friend. You can back it up to that point.
Yeah.
We can,
He is.
I've seen the
See,
slow
Will
mo, and there's
indeed.
some interesting subtle things in there, but you never know with slow mo.
No,
But
I'll
maybe-
slap all
but
of
I-
you. It's not staged.
maybe Chris, but seriously though, like and Mike talks about this at his seminars, like in a critical incident when you are suddenly shocked,
Sure.
by a situation. Like maybe Chris Rock's used to getting slapped a lot because I don't think he handled that pretty well.
Oh,
Didn't
he didn't want any police involvement, which I thought was very Brooklyn of him because he was
Right.
raised in
Yeah.
Bed.
Look at that. He's leaning in. He's leaning. Can you
He
guys
was
see this?
saying, Dan Bongino was saying that he does not think it was staged because he said if anybody's been in combat and fights, Chris Rock reacts if you've hit or been hit. Chris Rock reacts the way a guy who's just been hit, like he's stunned and kind of like it's like a real genuine reaction. Then he goes on to announce something. I think he says the wrong name, like he stumbles on his words.
Right. He said, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he said,
He's about to present the award, but he said I'm about to like document.
something about a documentary. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
used the
looked
word
genuinely
documentary where it didn't
Mhm.
belong.
Yeah. And Will Smith, I know he's an actor, but I mean, it was like, it was just such a change of emotions. It wasn't like he was trying. It was just like, wait, I'm laughing. No, now I'm not laughing. Now I'm mad. I mean, the anger came out during the second
He
part.
did sound legitimately upset when he was screaming. Like, there
Yeah.
was some adrenaline behind his.
Yeah, but he sounds
yelling.
exactly the way he did on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air when he was getting all hyped up. I'm not kidding. If you watched that show growing up, there were scenes where he used that exact
let's
tone
take
of
a
voice.
bet.
and everything.
That's
Let's
true.
take a bet. If it's staged
Okay,
or not.
so here I have the scene leading up to it where I guess the Guardian cut the camera.
Hold on, Brian.
Oh,
Brian Harper says to me it looks like a stuntman slap, but I don't know much about violence.
Nice.
It's not like he lost an eye or something.
So Chris is standing
he
there.
slaps like he was taught in the movies.
Chris is
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
there. He's leaning toward him like, hey, is Will gonna whisper something in my ear? Is he gonna pillow talk to me or something? No. and he's
Maybe
like,
he was
whoa,
leaning
what just
in for a-
happened? Now, Chris Rock is not a stranger to acting, at least voice acting, as far as I know, anyway. He played Marty the Zebra in Madagascar and Buddha Sack in King of the Hill. Okay, so he's done some acting, at least with the voice.
Yeah.
So
Are you insane? That's what you know Chris Rock for?
well, no, he's also very funny. Those are the ones that came to mind first.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Okay.
And then Will Smith just swaggers off the stage.
This is why I love Russ, though, because he does bring a different perspective to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
mean,
you
that
may
wouldn't
have
have been
heard
your
of
first-
George Clooney. You may have
Right.
heard of George Clooney. He played a detective on an episode of The Golden Girls in 1982.
He was
He's
Well,
very
so
he's
got
very
some-
focused.
He's been on the screen before, this guy.
He's done some acting, you know.
You guys.
Voice acting. He's definitely a good voice actor.
Well, that's what I know him for.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, if it was staged, then it they did a great job accomplishing that goal. But why would they not capitalize on WrestleMania? It's perfect timing
It is perfect timing. And when you
Perfect
say that, you're
timing.
saying Russell-mania, right?
for Russell.
Can we use that, or would that be like a trademark infringement for your fight with Russ? Russell-mania.
I would say don't bother.
Yeah. Are you
Just
still
like
declining
just
the
like you're not
opportunity to get in
allowed.
the ring with me?
Just like it's trademark the guy who says something along the line of prepare for commence preparations for rumbling.
Oh.
You're actually not allowed to
Oh.
say
Oh, you can't say
ready
it.
to
rumble.
Trademark. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
You can't say it, Chris.
So if we
Commence
did it on the air,
preparation-
that's like a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
commence
ready
preparations
to-
for
You-
rumbling.
You're gonna.
well. I'm pretty glad to see the pendulum swing in the other direction. Everybody's supporting Chris Rock now because it just, if it is real, they're going that way. Because at first, it seemed like Will stayed at the Academy Awards.
Well,
he
now they're
stayed there.
saying, oh well, we did ask him to leave, and he said no.
Yeah. They're saving face. And then everybody seemed to support him. He got,
What? Is that the kind of security team you guys got over there? It's like-
Well, it shows you the elite status of some of these people, because I mean, it
Yes.
was a active.
we
violence.
requested that he leave. He said he didn't feel like it, so we did everything we could. I don't know.
picture
Our
of
hands
Billy
are
Crystal
tied.
there and slapped.
We asked
Billy
nicely.
Crystal would have been
I mean,
taken out in handcuffs,
right? Yeah. Imagine if it was one of us. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Billy
Yeah.
Crystal would have been the joint.
Right. Right. I'd be calling Mike again, like I did the
Yeah.
other day when I stole the Rocky statue. Yeah.
Anyway, so my theory is if Will wanted to actually hurt Chris, it would have been a closed fist. It wouldn't have been a slap across the face.
Yeah, well, either way, it's not.
But
You
but
don't
the
say
other
like
Yeah.
the other problem
If
here
if
the other
it's real,
problem
you don't
here
I
believe
guess it's okay just to start slapping people. So, tomorrow if I'm getting gas and I get upset with the guy taking my money or something, I'll be like, hey, blame the gas prices on him.
Will
Whack.
Smith did it.
Yeah,
Hey,
on the other hand, I've heard some people say that Chris Rock didn't want to proceed with anything on the legal side and everything like that.
I think it would just
And
be
maybe
personal.
it just comes down to one of those old school street kind of things. Hey, you talked about the wife, you went a little too far, you crossed the line, you got slapped in the face. That's the end of that.
maybe.
That's what I've heard some people say.
Will Smith did
That's what-
apologize, right? Didn't he? I haven't seen it, but didn't he make a public statement or?
He did.
Yeah, he
apologized.
made a
Chris
generic
Rock
apology.
apologized to the Academy.
Well, his whole speech when he accepted his award was about how he played a guy who stood up for his family and everything like that. Kind of like made it like that's what he was doing earlier in the evening.
He was doing some.
Does that mean
what do
he
they
got
call it, method
stuck
acting,
in
Mike?
character?
Method acting?
He was
He's
a
like-
confused man. That I
Like-
saw, confused guy going
Just
along with his
crying,
narrative.
crying.
I'd be confused too.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be himself these days. But
No. And,
Well, he's
he's
in
like
this
on the edge,
he's
Well,
in
when
this
you find
situation.
out you're in an open marriage after getting married,
Yeah.
that'll change you a little bit.
Right. Yeah. People are
Oh,
wondering why
sure.
he didn't, do some smacking back then. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it started off people, and then it,
Hmm.
all the controversies, all the angles you can go from, standing up for your wife. Some people stood up for him. Some people said the violence at any cost is a no. Nobody wins. Gone in many different directions, but it's back from the affair situation, period, in my opinion.
I'm reading Brian's comment. He's cracking me up over here.
Well, he says that using an open using a closed
Mm-hmm.
fist is amateur, and using an open hand,
Yeah.
I guess, because the open hand covers more surface and thus more pain. I
He
mean,
said that's what the Dust Channel guy says. Read the
Jeez.
entire thing.
Right.
oh man,
have to practice your
Oh.
crane,
Yeah,
crane strike.
I
That's
think,
the other angle is is what happens with comedians now, like, or who's going to be the first comedian to go
Sure.
up
So
there.
maybe that's why this is so popular, is because there's so many different gray areas of all of this, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The fact
right.
that, well, on one hand, you cross the line with somebody's wife, you get slapped in the face, you really can't be surprised. On the other hand, hey, it's an awards show. He's a comedian who's hired to be there and crack jokes, and some of the jokes are going to be at people's expense.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
want to have jokes cracked that you don't show up to the awards show and sit in the front row. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask
Tom,
you, Mike.
do you remember
like,
what Ricky Gervais did to everybody at the Golden Globes?
refresh my memory?
Who watches the
my
Golden
yeah.
Globes?
Goodness.
I'm sure I saw it.
He ripped everybody. Tore him to
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking
that
about.
was
Yeah,
nothing.
that was good.
nothing
Yeah, right.
compared to
Remember
the-
when Obama ripped Trump?
hmm
Maybe Chris Rock will run. for
Remember
president.
when everybody ripped Trump?
That's when he decided to run for president. I think. he
That's what I'm
said.
saying. Maybe
Yeah.
one of them will run for president now.
No,
I heard from some, and the size thing is something to be considered. The fact that Chris Rock's a smaller man
Mhm.
and a comedian, smaller. Let's say it, all comedians
Well,
aren't fighters or anything like that.
Gary just brought up a good question in the comments. This is something I wanted to ask you on the air, Mike. I mean, if this was a situation outside of the Oscars and you got a call from somebody, a prospective client saying, hey, I just slapped somebody across the face and got arrested or charged, like that's a violent act. I mean, people could be
And simple
in
assault.
trouble for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
What is it
simple assault.
exactly? Okay. So it's simple assault. Is that
Yeah.
because it's open
Yeah, but
hand?
What
There
do
is
you
a
mean?
difference between open hand and closed hand in that situation, or no?
Not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
it's
in
all
order
assault.
for it to change into aggravated assault, you'd have to be crossing into serious bodily injury.
Okay.
So
But
there'd have to be
Gary was
such a
asking-
significant disparity of force that.
So if
Gary was asking.
Hold
about
on, can I get
comedians.
one thought out?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be
please.
hard. Every time I try to say something, there's 4 other topics that go on before I get the thought out. I don't even know that I remember what I wanted to say when I started complaining. To be honest with you,
Welcome to your show.
I may have lost it already.
Uh-oh.
you lost a long time
Oh,
ago.
I did hear from somebody. Do you remember when Elon Musk hosted Saturday Night Live and he said that
Mm.
he was the first person with Asperger's to host?
Yes.
Somebody mentioned, and it was a serious mention, although I can't confirm the accuracy. Mentioned that Chris Rock also has Asperger's.
Oh, is that right?
Have you ever heard of this?
I have not.
If that's true, that adds another layer to all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it?
Wow.
I suppose it does.
Yeah.
You mean explain where you're coming from with
I
that?
mean, you're gonna pick on and
Gotcha.
Yeah.
and
You just
Although
slapped
would-
the guy with Asperger's.
Would he have to have known? Would Will have to have known that?
I'm not even talking about legally. I'm talking
Yeah.
about whether or not you're a word that I can't say on
Mhm.
the air, right?
Right.
Mm.
I'm gonna look
Because-
that up. Does Chris Rock have Asperger's?
Yeah, why not?
But Mike, the people want to know, and Gary asked, being that we all witnessed it, and the police obviously, whoever's watching witnessed it, can't he get arrested without Chris pressing charges? Because they do that in like domestics and different things. How come not with that?
You got confrontation clause issues.
Oh yeah, the confrontation clause.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah. See,
We'll have Rich Roberts come on. We'll talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
that'd be good. We should just give him a call randomly, see if he's available. I'm looking
So,
this up to see if it
the-
says anything
the-
about it.
Chat is saying that Roselle made a good point, and
You're gonna move forward with no victim there to testify.
Yeah, I mean, between two
Right.
men, I think it's okay. They came to some sort of agreement, and he did say something about his wife, but it's interesting to see that happen on such a big stage, and of course, if it was just
The whole
one
world.
of us normal peons, probably wouldn't go so smoothly.
well, I think it would have gone differently if Will Smith slugged Chris in the diaphragm, and
There's also,
absolutely
you
knocked
think
the
the
wind out
status
of him.
symbol has something to do how police react to someone who got punched in the face?
I mean, I don't think they can legally, can they?
What's that?
Can the
Like pick
police
and choose
react
based
different-
on.
unless like they're paid.
They've
off or
always got discretion.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think it comes into play. You see this happening quite a bit.
Do they want to arrest Will Smith, one of the biggest actors in the world? You know, I mean,
It was a good point, Rita. It was a good
What
point.
are they gonna do? Fine him $2,000? You'd be like, yeah, here's my wallet. I had that in cash.
Yeah. It is what it is.
And Brian says, not true, Jeremy. So Jeremy says they're not arresting anyone in California anyway. Why would they arrest him? Brian says, not true, Jeremy. They arrest cigar smokers and the unvaxxed.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, there you go.
jeez.
And the unvaxxed.
Comedian
The
lives
unmasked-
matter.
Unmasked and, you know.
comedians' lives matters, says
Oh,
Gary.
man.
CLM.
Cigar shop in West Hollywood. I don't know if I should tell that story.
Oh,
Billy
please
Chris, I
do.
believe you know that story, right?
I think I recall it a bit. You have
The
yeah, you
cigar
should tell
shop
it.
in West
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
If
can, you
it's
can tell
okay
it.
for the air, you can tell it.
Can I tell the story?
Yeah,
I don't know
think
the
so.
story.
Yeah.
So was in California, making California great again, as everybody
Mhm.
saw.
And
And it was
improved-
that same day that we made that video.
Right, right.
And went over to a cigar shop in West Hollywood. Go in and go into the humidor. It happened to be a particularly cold day. You don't get many cold days in that part of the country at all.
Right. You still
But
had
it
the
was
top
really-
down in the convertible, though. That was good, huh?
Right. But later in the day, when it got fairly windy, it was chilly out. And I was dressed in shorts and a t shirt. Went into the cigar shop and went for a fairly expensive cigar. I hadn't smoked in quite a while. So I figured, let me enjoy myself.
Opus?
Padron.
Padron. Okay, of course.
Padron. And of course, in California, everything's twice the price of the cigars
Mhm.
because the tax is just about as expensive as the cigar itself over there.
Yeah.
So they're ridiculously expensive. But you know, hadn't smoked in probably a month. So, hey, this is my month's allotment, you know. So, go in, buy the cigar. I'm talking to the gentleman who's working there. And ended up giving him a pretty decent tip. And you don't always tip cigar lounge guys. I know that when I co-managed a cigar lounge and I was there taking care of them, ringing them up, cutting their cigars, lighting their cigars for them, putting on the television, whatever they wanted, you know, making people really feel at home and get them to
Right.
want to come back.
Hmm.
And people didn't tip us in that setting, which I wasn't looking for a tip. I got paid for my job. I enjoyed doing my job, but I gave the guy a tip. Pretty,
Nice.
you know, probably like a 50% tip
It's nice.
at least. And then so I get done. I cut my cigar, get ready to sit down. He's like, "Oh, before you sit down, I need to see your vaccination card."
Oh, really?
Oh, for
Right.
goodness sake.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I said. That's what I said. Really? You see, yeah. Just do you have your vaccination card on you? So I said, no.
Mm, I do not.
And he said, well, do you just have it on your phone or anything? And I said, no. And he said, I'm sorry, so I'm going to have to ask you to sit outside. I'm like,
jeez.
are you kidding me right now?
Even after the
Give me
12
that $20 back.
Right. Like, wait a minute. I think I just overpaid you by accident.
Did you get your tip back, Mike?
Oh,
No,
gosh.
I take it back. He's punished enough. He's punished enough. The fact that
Right.
he's in that miserable system and
Mm-hmm.
he's living like that.
Yeah.
Deb G says, hi, guys. Give her a hey now, Philly Chris.
Hey now, Deb G. Hey now.
Mike G in the morning. Family's just growing and growing.
Sure is. Mm-hmm.
What else we have going? Brian says, tell us a story, Uncle Mike.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's your story.
Story time.
Hesitate
Story
to
time.
tell that one. I've got a lot of stories that I hesitate to tell. I got John, the private investigator, calling me right now.
Oh, yeah? Pick it
Yeah.
up live. Do it. Let's see what he's got to say.
You're on the air, so don't say any curse words.
Oh, here we go.
You're on the air. You know, I love it how we've got 100,000 people listening over the airwaves in the morning who know exactly where to find us. And bunch of people listen through the live stream week after week. They're here every single week. And it seems that only my closest friends and family members have no idea when I'm on the air and give me a call.
Including Russ.
So
Including Russ.
congratulations, John. You're officially one of my closest friends on the planet because you call me on the air and have no idea when my show is.
What do I win?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
You win a
John.
slot on the show. It's been a long time since you've been on.
You win a
It's one of these,
slap.
Oh, yeah.
Gets one of these.
I just heard something, too, that's kind of newsworthy, but everybody might have heard about it already.
All right. Maybe I haven't heard about it. I've had a busy day. I was in court 3 hours away today on a gun case. It took a long time to get back and was in meetings the rest of the day. So I've seen zero news. Do you want to break this news on the air?
Apparently, Ohio became constitutional carry a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. I don't think we've talked about it on the program, even though 2 weeks ago isn't exactly breaking news.
Yeah. That's like,
Is
I
that
thought
true?
California
Can
fell in
somebody
the ocean or
confirm that?
something.
Can somebody confirm that?
Let me look it up here on the interwebs. Ohio,
No,
he
I'm
said,
asking
right?
the other folks on the show if somebody can confirm that.
It was March 14th.
John knows the date and everything.
Okay, I got a story from March 15th, a newly signed law going into effect on June 12th. So do not rely on constitutional carry prior to June 12th. I wonder.
This looks like it's from March 14th.
Yeah.
March 14th. Yeah.
Ohio became the 23rd state to pass permit optional concealed carry law.
You know, John should
22
become our
states.
our 2-week-old news contributor.
Yeah, Chris says that Chris says, John, you have to become our 2-week-old news contributor. So, so every week we should have a segment every single week where John comes on and tells us news from 2 weeks ago.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago in the news. Welcome to
Maybe
the program,
then he'll
John.
know what time the show is on.
Johnny, 2 weeks.
Mike, get John's opinion on the slap because I did see him posting online quite a bit about it.
Hold on. Liberty wants your opinion on the slap. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you think about the slap heard around the world?
My opinion on the slap, I think Chris Rock should have defended himself.
Interesting take on it. Interesting
But I
take.
do like how he handled it like a gentleman.
Ah.
Mhm.
But I think Will Smith, I think he needs some serious help and he needs to look into his marriage a bit more.
Yeah, you think he's got some unresolved emotional issues there?
Too many.
Or too many?
That slap was not meant for Chris. That he ended up being the punching bag to take all his anger out on. He just snapped.
Wow, Liberty, he's right on line with
this,
you. I
yeah.
think that might have been word for word that it wasn't meant
Yes,
for.
It
for
was not
Will.
meant for
It
Chris
was
Rock.
not meant for him. Well, so that's 2 votes in that corner. I think you're onto
John's-
something, John.
John's a PI, a private investigator, so he knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him and his
I think it's
wife
called like
had
projection, right? When you project
marital
something.
problems for
Liberty?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, John. Well,
Yeah, he's
Everything else.
all right, John. So I'll give you a shout, and we'll make sure we set up for your appearance next week on the program to bring us the 2-week-old news. Okay?
Tell him to call us in 2 weeks about.
Okay.
Hey, call us back in 2 weeks to talk about this Chris Rock situation.
Yeah,
it's
and
far
the,
too
and the
soon.
Hunter
okay?
and the Biden laptop. You know.
All right, take it easy.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
For those of us just tuning in, you're listening to The Crazy Show, where anything can happen, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. People are going to be looking up thecrazyshow.com, right?
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna have to get that URL.
Absolutely.
I like that live call when you answer live calls. Too bad we can't just give everybody Mike G's personal number.
Well, we could
Oh.
do it that way somehow. It actually works pretty
Well,
good.
the problem is that nobody can hear you folks. I'd have to sort of be the middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that would.
Which I don't mind.
Oh
doing.
yeah, I got you. Right. Yeah. Well, we have to figure out.
We can have like a Skype number, like a private Russ. I don't know if you can answer this, like a dummy Skype number that people can call in. We could Skype them on in if they call this number.
I mean, we have a Skype number, but I don't think you can get a dummy number. And also, that would require a different. How would we even? I don't know. We can figure this out some other
We'll
time.
work on it when we're not on the air. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
There
good.
you go. Yeah, it's a good idea though.
Oh,
Would be
wow.
good to take some live
Ryan's
calls.
got some real breaking news. He said, hey, everyone, please send up prayers for the 3 police officers who were shot in Lebanon this afternoon.
Oh. Didn't hear
Did you hear about
that.
this? Chris,
No.
why don't you pull up that story and tell us what happened? Oh, Rita says, when's Homeschool Will coming on? Any idea? We should get him on next week. I think I'm good for next week.
Well, actually, I don't know. Are we ready to announce this yet? We're going to be a PLC. We already did. We already talked about this.
Well,
I got
think
word.
you have to announce it, right? Isn't it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Well,
What are you going to announce it the day after?
yeah.
Wait, what? I don't know the news.
We had some breaking news. You can announce it in 2 weeks. That's when you can do it. You can
Yeah, have John call
announce
back
it
in 2
We
weeks.
knew about a
John
month
will call back in 2
ago.
weeks and tell you
Right.
that tell everybody that you guys were at the conference.
Well, I have word that Homeschool Will is probably going to be there. So,
Oh.
All right. Well, don't wear him out too much. I need him on the program when I'm involved.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. We'll just give you a call, Mike.
He was commenting on. Well, I suppose that could happen too, depending on what time we plan on doing this. Friday or Saturday?
It would be Friday. I don't know how the situation's going to plan out because everything's been. I heard the place that it's being held is either under new management or new ownership. I'm not sure which, but I got word that a lot of things have changed and moved around. So I don't know what the circumstances are going to be. We're going to have recorded content because my laptop apparently is a problem. And that'll get posted as videos.
When has that ever stopped you?
It stopped me last week.
Yeah.
Chris, did you find this story on the?
Yeah, I actually was able to find something on it. It says multiple police officers were shot in a Pennsylvania city on Thursday afternoon. At least 3 officers were hospitalized after the shooting in a residential neighborhood in Lebanon at about 4:30 p.m., according to WGAL. Scores of police vehicles responded to the massive scene, according to footage published by the station. The circumstances of the shooting and the officers' conditions were not immediately clear. Officials were expected to hold a press conference Thursday evening. I believe somebody just put in the comments that it's going to be at 8:30 tonight. Yeah, Brian did that. Maybe we can pull it up at 8:30 if Russ could do that, if we want to have that on the show.
Hang on a
Interesting,
second.
sad news. That's sad news. Yeah.
Hang on a second. You said scores of police vehicles, police officers?
Scores of police vehicles responded to the massive scene, according to footage published by the station.
That's
There's a
at
picture
least
here, but,
40.
uh,
That's
yeah,
at
how do you
least
define
40.
score?
Well, a
So it looks like
score
they're
is
still
20.
investigating it. Yeah.
A score is 20. 7 years ago. 87.
Right.
That's 87 for you guys keeping count. Okay.
Well, and then there was just that funeral today for the poor police officers who were run down by that drunk driver they had stopped. I was actually
yeah.
speaking
One
to
on
somebody
95?
today who was at that funeral, and it sounds like it was a very touching.
Didn't one of our listeners
Yeah.
publicly post that they had a relationship with one of the persons?
One of them did. I'm not sure they wanted to get into that too much on the air, but yeah, we do
Okay.
have a friend of the show who knows one of those individuals. Yeah, so maybe at a later date we'll get into that. But
and
yeah, very
if-
very sad
if
situation.
the
yeah.
listener wants to post in the comments, then
Mhm.
we'd be happy to talk about it. But
Sure, sure.
if not,
yeah.
then we'll other things that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Sad. Let's try to uplift just a little bit.
Yeah.
If we can.
Ladies and gentlemen.
How are our listeners enjoying the jam sessions? I know that we're having a lot of fun with the jam
we are.
sessions on the weekends.
Mhm.
We've had a lot of people joining us and tuning in, even though they're at ridiculous hours. So if you have not participated in the jam sessions, we've been live streaming periodically on the weekends, playing a lot of classic tunes.
Yeah, I
Mm.
had some
Check
of
it on
our
YouTube.
listeners were like, "Oh, I didn't know Mike could play the guitar like that." And I'm like, there's not much Mike can't do,
Oh, it's been forever. That first jam session that
Yeah.
we did 2 weeks ago, that's the first time I picked up a guitar in who knows how long.
hmm
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great. That was a lot of fun. Good times for all.
Len says NJ just became constitutional carry. That is true.
Now we're gonna have fake news
Don't
segment?
spread fake news, misinformation, Len.
Yeah.
The phone's
my
going to be
goodness.
blowing up with people
yeah,
who get
that's-
3.5 years mandatory minimum, right?
Mm. Yeah,
That's the
that'll be
thing
like-
about the constitutional carry. When I said it went into effect, there have been cases where a state passes constitutional carry and it goes into effect in so many months, and
Mhm.
somebody gets caught carrying between when it was passed and when it actually goes into effect.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. What have you seen happen in that situation? Do they give them a little more leeway, or I guess obviously they don't have to, but what have you seen?
What's that?
I mean, they could give them a little more leeway, but have they? Have you seen what they did in those cases when somebody got stopped or caught between the dates? Were they a little more flexible in the consequences, or? I mean, you can't.
I don't know that I know the
Okay.
way that it actually, because it's not, obviously, they're not, my cases are not Pennsylvania cases because we don't
Right,
have
right.
constitutional carry. But you just read about these stories about people getting picked up.
Right. No, there's a lot of confusion around that for sure, especially in
Yeah.
Jersey.
Well, what was even worse is when national reciprocity passed one chamber.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? I think it was the House passed it. And I
Yeah,
had all
right.
these people sending me this article. Look what just passed, guys.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Done deal.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no. Remember the whole "I'm just a bill" thing? It's got to go through both, and then the president's still got to sign it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah, it
And
jams a lot of
for
people.
some
up.
reason, it started recirculating like 2 years after it happened.
Oh, really?
People
Oh, okay.
started sending me stuff. Look what just happened. And I look at the date, and I was like, dude, just look at the date.
Yeah.
It's from like 2 years ago.
Fortunately, people get hung up on the headlines. A lot of the headlines are misleading these days by design.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's probably a bunch of prosecutors putting that back out there. They're like, hey, let's make people think it's legal.
Right?
Hmm.
Setting traps. I dealt with. If I could tell the full story of the prosecutor that I dealt with today,
Hmm.
uh, talk about pull your hair out of your head in a jurisdiction that is, I'd say, majority pro-gun, and the prosecutor is an elected official. You would think that if people knew and understood that this guy is behaving in this manner when it comes to gun rights,
Mm-hmm.
that they wouldn't appreciate that too well and maybe would be hesitant to vote him back into office. 'Cause you don't get elected, you lose your job, right?
Right on. Mm-hmm.
I get this call. Well, basically needed a one sentence. My buddy Brett said, really, it could have been one word, but I needed a one sentence response from this guy. Started reaching out about a month ago. Hearing was going to be today. And if I had this response, it would make everything a lot more efficient. And if I didn't have this response, it could make things significantly more difficult. It could throw a hitch in everything and could have to file additional papers and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even require a continuance.
Okay.
Shouldn't have been a big deal by any stretch of the imagination. So, other attorney at my office starts by sending off an email, follows up with calls. Nothing ridiculous, not multiple times a day, but week 1, send an email. Week 2, maybe you call them there. Hey, did you get my email? That sort of thing. Week 3, maybe we're going to contact you twice this week. When we start to get like 10 days, a week out from the hearing, and then the hearing's this week,
Right.
I need an answer from this guy.
Nice.
So you start the email and call every day thing. And of course, the emails always start with, hey, I'm not trying to be a pest here, but I really need this answer, and I've been reaching out to you.
Mhm.
I finally get a call like yesterday afternoon, and it's like, Hey, man, listen, the emails, it's too much. It's too much with the emails. Come on. Well,
Does he have control over how often you email or something? Is he like an authority over the Mike G emails or what?
it's like, what? It
Come
all
on,
could have been
man.
avoided if you just like responded to one of them
Yeah.
like a month ago, or
Mhm.
like, looking for like a one sentence response for a
Right.
month. Maybe that's why I had to send multiples and the hearings tomorrow. That's all.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like, listen, hey, I got a lot going on over here. I don't have time for the. I'm sorry. Did somebody else sign you up for this job? Like, were you thrust into this position, or did you like run for this position? Did you ask people, hey, please give me this position? Please select my name for this position because I want it really bad.
Right. And I'll do a good job. I promise.
And by the way, county, as far as prosecutors being really busy and everything like that, we're not talking about Philadelphia or anything.
Right.
By any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination. If I told you and you were drinking, you'd probably spit out your drink. When I told you this guy's talking about how busy he is dealing with crime in this county. And there was something dealing with a waiver of service issue with whether they were going to object to the way we served them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, if I got to print, if I'm going to put in a waiver, that means I got to print it out and I got to sign it. I got to send it back to you." I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna even get into the fact about that being so much work and everything that you're exhausted when you're done. Right? I'm not even gonna get back into that.
Right. Sounds like it'd be
But
easier
if
just to
that's the
drop the case.
If that's the case, do me a favor. Just send one sentence and say, "Hey, man, really too busy to deal with this. Do what you got to do." Right?
Right. Right.
That's it. Or could have been object or don't object. That's it.
Mhm.
That's all I'm looking for. But if you tell me nothing, guess what? I got to keep reaching out. That's my job, right? That's the
Right,
job
right.
that I signed up for.
Yeah.
I know that you mysteriously got your job somehow. We're still not sure how that happened. Right? You didn't ask for this job.
Narfador.
People drive me nuts though. It's like, are you familiar with the concept of public service?
Well, plus he's implying that you have nothing else going on other than to email him. Like you're not busy. You know.
I'm
he's
sitting
just-
there all day waiting by the computer.
Yeah.
You know,
And
okay. I thought that was the end of it.
What'd you have to add to that, Russ?
Well, I was gonna say he has time to know that you emailed him because he said the emails were too much, but he couldn't bother to answer.
right, he couldn't. He was so busy that he couldn't find 1 minute in a month. Incredible.
I mean,
Dude is incredibly busy. I mean, like everybody's just murdering everybody in his
Right.
man.
I guess,
Yeah, you hear
right?
about that all
And
the
then
time.
he's got
out
to
there.
print
In
everything.
his jurisdiction,
Jeez.
they have the National Guard in the streets in his jurisdiction right now.
Don't they have an autonomous zone right now, Mike?
They have an autonomous zone. They've got tanks rolling around. It's just total anarchy in his jurisdiction. You don't
think
know how
Mayor
little time
Lightfoot
this
was
guy
up there
has to
talking the
spare.
other day.
This guy's got no time to spare whatsoever. Not even a minute. He could have even had his secretary call me. He could have said to his secretary, "Hey, just tell this guy I really don't have time for this, and tell him to do what he's got to do, and serve me through the sheriff." Cool,
Yeah, there you go.
awesome. I don't want to email you 19 times over the course of a month. It wasn't 19 times, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 42 times, right?
And a half.
Right.
There's one email that I typed out and I didn't send.
That's the one that got him to call. He's like, it's not a complete sentence. Gotcha.
Another go-
Gotcha.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I can't live
Yeah.
without figuring out what this means.
Maybe that'll work next time.
Maybe if I print it.
He was busy counting. Brian says he was busy counting Mike's emails to him.
One.
That's all
One.
that's
And the time it took you to count these emails.
Two.
Exactly.
People are.
Jeremy
people are
asks, has anyone else canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions after the craziness they've been spouting?
Good time to do it. Yeah,
I
don't
never
have
had
it,
one.
Haven't had it, but yeah, I don't spend my money on any Disney stuff anymore. So good point,
No.
Jeremy.
It's a shame. Len mentioned we should get Chris Rock and Will Smith in the UFC. Dana White should sign him up.
Yeah.
And
Oh, so yeah, somebody
And
said that online.
the-
They said something about Dana White, and then
Well-
also Mike Tyson.
well, the reason I bring this up is because the UFC with the ESPN deal is under that Disney banner. And the
Okay.
problem
Oh,
is
it's-
that
oh, yeah,
if
right,
if you've decided that you're not going to watch the sports where the players kneel and you've got all these other issues, political outspokenness. Chris and I talked about on a video why we don't watch sports anymore except the UFC,
Mhm.
and how Dana White has been an outspoken supporter of President Trump, and many fighters have come out in support of President Trump. Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, I mean, lots of them. People who, have not been afraid, as you've seen in other sports and other contexts.
They
So-
own so much, Disney.
Yeah, they just own everything. Is that?
I just pulled up a thing and it's like insane. I kind of knew that they owned a lot, but I haven't looked at this prior to this level of detail. But yeah, ABC, ESPN, Touchstone Pictures, Marvel, Lucasfilm, A&E, History Channel, Lifetime, Pixar, Hollywood Records, Vice Media, Core Publishing, Star Wars, The Muppets, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Disney, Princess, Chronicles of Narnia. Actually,
So-
Russ probably knows all this stuff, right?
Holy
Russ?
So basically, they're the Amazon of
Yeah, I
entertainment.
was just gonna say that Amazon. So if you're gonna
Yeah.
start there, it's a slippery slope of.
And that's just part of it. Like there's this whole map of
They own Fox, not the news, but I mean maybe they own the news, but they own Fox. They bought The Simpsons, 20th Century Fox.
yeah. Well,
Us.
those things in the country are just owned by a few people now. So
Right.
just how they're able to do
Yeah.
all the stuff through private corporations. All the stuff we've talked about over the past year and we've seen, happen during the pandemic. It's
Yeah.
highly controlled by the few, elite private corporations. So here we are, 2022.
I did want to announce really quickly. I did make the last live stream public because we thought we lost it for the jam session. We
It
thought we
was
lost
found.
It showed up out of nowhere. Philly Chris.
Yeah.
It showed up out of nowhere today, and then I found it was unlisted, so I made it public. So if you guys want to go check it out,
It's a
That
streaming
is-
miracle.
Jazzy Ralph is on the chat. Everybody, just FYI.
Yeah. Jazzy Ralph.
Ah, the house keyboard player.
Don't say any bad words, Jazzy Ralph.
He's like the
Yeah.
anchor. He's like the anchor. He keeps us all like rooted together
When,
there.
when are we playing this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, let's do it. We should go play somewhere outside
We
and see
playing
if we
this
can get
week?
some people to, listen outdoors. That'd be cool. Yeah, let me know. I'll be over. I'll bring all my shoes and glasses this time too.
Yeah, this time we'll have a backup in case.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It
just
was so
fun.
go over to
strange.
the Target parking lot and start playing there.
Yeah,
Russ,
there we
and-
go.
I have a question for Russ, the tech guy. Any idea why YouTube would not show up? Like we had over an hour of footage.
Did it
Why-
take that long to upload? Is that what was going on?
No.
But the last one was that long, and it didn't show up.
It's
It was
weird. It's kind of weird. I just assumed it was gone. I was happy when
No,
you
it was-
texted
I mean,
today about it.
It's
Yeah.
5 days, literally 5 days later. It showed
Right.
up.
Oh wow, there's a restriction copyright claim.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
That-
probably it.
no,
Could be.
it works though now. You could see it. I shared it. With some
Usually,
people.
should we play a little of it for folks who haven't seen it? It's on the YouTube channel, right?
So we could get.
So we could get copyright claimed again.
yeah, why not?
How can they copyright it? You guys must play so good that it recognized it.
No,
Those
it
algorithms are pretty good.
recognizes
Although if you're-
tunes and everything. It's a bot that does it.
I guess if you're playing someone else's music, though, that is a legitimate copyright issue, right? Or no?
That's so silly.
have
You're
no
just you're
idea.
doing a cover.
I'm not the lawyer here. Ask the
Yeah,
lawyer.
right. Yeah.
I don't.
Oh yeah, copyright law is my expertise. Remember the book I wrote called Pennsylvania Copyright Law: Armed and Educated? Yeah, that's what I do. It's like
Right.
I can't stand that. I get that all the time, and then I feel like a moron because I don't know the
You're
intricacies
supposed to know
of
everything, Mike.
I'm a
some
gun
area of
lawyer,
the
you
law
idiot.
that I don't practice and never have and never touched and never studied.
Yeah. I know you
People
love
that-
us.
I hate when people that, you went to law school. It's like, yeah, that's right. I took copyright law and law. YouTube copyright law is the way the covers of songs constitute a copyright infringement.
Yeah. Isn't estate law your favorite?
State law.
Estate,
That's funny.
like houses.
That is funny. That's hysterical.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rita, it's under Mike G in the morning, and it was unlisted, but now
Hold on. I get. This is a good one. This is what it reminds me of. This is what it reminds me of when people
Okay.
ask me completely irrelevant law questions because you're an attorney. I was with a family member and they were getting ready to have this medical procedure. We're sitting there, it's like 5-something in the morning, and they were getting ready to go in. It's a pretty serious procedure. They were nervous about it. And they're, trying to keep them calm and everything like that. And this lady right behind the curtain on the other side, and sounded like from the things that were going back and forth that she was getting a colonoscopy. And so the doctor comes in and he says, I'm going to be your doctor. I'm getting ready to do this. Here's how it's going to go and everything like that. She goes, excuse me. Well, while I'm under, I've got this ingrown toenail. Do you think you could take a look at it for me while I'm under in there? And the guy's like, no. And he's like, I can't do that. No, I can't. And she's like, but you're a doctor. You're a doctor. You'll know. It's not gonna. Won't that be a big deal for you? It won't be that big of a deal for you. He's like, no. I wish I could. I really can't. I wish I could.
Proctologist, podiatrist. It's
Can't
almost the
do
same
it.
thing.
Yeah. You look at this ingrown toe. You're a doctor. You're a doctor. So anytime you think about that, that's how it sounds to me. Anytime somebody mentions something about, oh well, you're an attorney. Even with gun law, when I first got involved years ago, somebody said something about a very specific, particular gun law that I was working with. And they said, well, I think it was like a paralegal or a legal secretary. And they were like, well, you know that because you went to law school. It's like, you really think that we learned like every single gun law in every single state in law school? Like, do you really think that's how it is over there?
Sure.
And we sat there like memorizing each and every gun law in each and every state. First of all, I went to law school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We didn't study Pennsylvania gun laws over. Second of all, even if I did go to law school in Pennsylvania, I guarantee you that zero class anywhere, even a criminal law class, discusses Pennsylvania gun laws. It's just not the way law school works.
Right.
You're not there to memorize all the different laws. You don't learn all the different laws. You might learn concepts and theories.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they teach you to do math?
I did think about writing a book sometime called like the No BS Approach to Law School, because I think people have a gross misconception of what it's going to be, and they get a lot of bad advice when they go there. It's weird because somebody once told me that attorneys can sometimes have an inferiority complex and a God complex at the same time. They're way the kind of people it takes to be a lawyer. Get out there and do stuff that has serious consequences on the line and not think about it, not get freaked out. That takes a certain kind of personality, but also what comes with it sometimes is people way too overconfident when they shouldn't be. And I see this all the time when attorneys take on gun cases that they have no business sniffing. They have no business anywhere near these cases.
Yeah.
Like, I could figure it out. Yeah. And they say these things with such absolute certainty to these clients when they have no idea what they're talking about. It's, stay in your lane. But that kind of an attitude, some people have that from day one when they go to law school. And it's like the blind leading the blind. They're like giving other people advice as to what they should do that year one in law school. If somebody had asked me in like the year one, in the 1L year, particularly the first semester, what should I do? How do we do this? Don't look at me. This is my first semester just like you, What do I know about this? I'm just trying to figure it out. I could have give advice? That would be ridiculous. Don't take my advice? What would you want my advice for? You don't even know how I'm going to do. I could be gone in a couple of weeks. I could fail out of this place for all you know.
Did you ever have any doubts when you first got into it in law school? I mean, did you
Well,
ever
I
like
remember
question your
taking
decision?
the
or-
final exams and
Yeah.
thinking something along the lines of, well, if the semester costs 20 grand, right?
Mhm.
Then each of these exams, there's basically 5 grand on the line, which was
Right.
way more money than I'd ever seen in my entire life at that point, right?
Yeah, so it's a good
I mean,
amount of money. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
meaning, I'm talking about 5 grand is way more money, let
Sure,
alone the
I got
20
you.
that was on the line in total.
Right.
I really put in a lot of time and effort to all of that. Now, I did get good advice from somebody early on. I went to visit with this attorney who was a former student of the sports law professor. And we were just talking about certain things, and it had nothing, we were meeting about something else. It had nothing to do with law school per se. And he said, if I could recommend one thing to you, treat it like a 9 to 5 job. Be in the library at 9 o'clock, no matter when your class is. Get work done while you're there. Leave at 5 o'clock, no matter what. Don't sit in the library all night. Don't burn yourself out. Do
Mhm.
9 to 5, take the weekends off. And as long as you're truly putting that time in, you're going to be fine.
That's good
And
advice. Yeah.
I told a couple of people that, hey, this is what I heard from this lawyer. And they were, of course, like, oh, that's ridiculous. I wonder how well he did in law school. You're up there like reading books about contracts till 2 o'clock in the morning and not retaining anything whatsoever, you know?
Right. Right.
And by just putting in that slow and steady amount of time, that seemed to work best for me. By the time finals rolled around, had a pretty good handle. And I learned differently than some other people. If I hear stuff, that's the best way that I learn. So I found out that they had these CDs in the library where they were lectures about particular topics from professors all over the country. Like one guy was from NYU, and you had people from different places in California and stuff. But the topics the same, the subjects the same, no matter where you're going to school. So I would get these CDs. And for finals preparation, I would just listen to these CDs, sit there all day just listening to the discussion about the topic. And by the end, maybe I didn't have my teacher's notes memorized, like the stuff that they put on the board and everything like that, or their examples. But I knew enough about this topic that I could have a pretty good conversation. And that's when you know you understand it.
Sure.
Like we got there, and this one guy I knew, very, very bright guy. We're getting ready to walk in, and he's like reciting the rules of civil procedure by number out loud. I'm like, this guy is not seeing the forest from the trees. Because you got to know how to have a conversation about this stuff. You don't got to know what the rule is and what number it is. That's not going to help you to issue spot this problem and write a coherent answer about it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And turns out it worked out for me and did pretty well after.
Well, you do have a really good memory. Did you always have a good memory, or did you do something at a young age to really like hone your memory skills? But
he ate his carrots.
Prevagen has this ingredient originally found in jellyfish.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new sponsor. This episode has been brought to you entirely, but partially by Prevagen.
I would love to think of something totally weird and have people start doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I do is every morning I skin a zucchini and I stick it firmly between my knees and I walk across the wall.
There's Mike and his zucchini.
Living room with that zucchini pressed firmly between my knees. Do that every day. You'll be
Zucchini
remembering stuff
exercises.
from kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
I'll never forget that story.
I was trying to do my best Billy Chris impression for the ladies and gentlemen, this will be the next interview. And when Billy Chris is Mike G, a up close and personal interview. That was kind of like a little.
Oh,
we have to set that up.
That's long overdue, right?
It is long overdue.
What I would like to do, Chris, is we should go over, because I was with some family in Brooklyn within the last month or so, and we had somebody else in the car. Forget who it was. Might have even been John. And we're going through my old neighborhoods and stuff, and I'm pointing to different things, saying, hey, here's where this was. Oh, you might recognize this from this on TV, that kind of thing. And my family member was like, "Hey, you sound like a documentary right now.
Mm.
You really ought to do this for the show."
Well, that'd be
So
cool.
if we are going to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that interview thing, I don't know.
Okay.
Is anybody here who wants to hear?
No, I've had a
Mike
lot of
G
people
interview?
ask
I don't.
me, you know,
Nobody
yeah.
wants to hear Mike G. Interview. I want to hear Mike G interview other people.
Well, there's a lot they don't know about Mike G. Behind the curtains. We'll call it behind the curtains or something.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? We're going to call it a short night this evening.
Yeah, we got a big lot going on. Well, Russ already mentioned the leadership conference. I'm actually here now, so keep your eyes on the channel. I'll probably try to get some footage and interview stuff for us for either the next few days or next week. And big announcement next week. Tune into the program next week. For a big,
Wait, hold
huge.
on. We have to settle a score, Philly Chris. There was some footage of you smoking a cigar, right, Russ?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Cigars are acceptable.
Yeah.
And so-
Remember?
so-
Well, see, Mike has the memory. What did I say last week, Mike?
Okay.
I
What
yeah,
did I
Cigarettes.
say?
Mike
Cigarettes.
needs to
We
take our side.
specifically talked about this.
Right. Mhm.
What's the difference?
Russ is just trying to get $1,000.
There's a big difference.
Russ
There's a
wants it.
big difference.
Big
Okay,
difference.
Mike. Okay, Mike. Pop quiz. What are the differences?
Well, first of all, have you ever
I've
been
never
walking
smoked
down
either.
the
of
street and some homeless person asks you for a cigarette? Have you ever had a bum ask you for a cigarette?
them. No.
Well,
Yeah.
then it doesn't work. Chris, you have, right?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Have you ever
I-
seen a bum ask you for a cigar? Hey, got any cigars?
Nope, never had that happen all the time in the
That's
city.
what I
But
said.
I've given out quite a few cigarettes though.
No,
Yeah.
there's not the same, not the same chemical. They put all kinds of chemicals into cigarettes and everything like that.
And
Cigars
you
are
don't
entirely-
inhale the cigar, although some
you're
people
not
do. but
supposed
you
to.
don't.
You're not supposed to.
Have you had a cigar, Russ?
No.
Really? You've never had a cigar ever?
Correct.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming up live on the Mike G in the Morning Show, Russ's first cigar.
No.
We'll have to do that.
Unless you're my Uncle Dave, who was trying to quit
No.
cigarettes, so he was inhaling cigars.
Oh,
I never seen anything.
I've done it accidentally, and it's not that pleasant. Yeah, but it's all natural too. I mean, it's just a rolled leaf, tobacco leaf. So, as Mike pointed out, you don't have all the the added chemicals and all that nonsense.
So
So.
is cocaine.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said so is cocaine. That comes from a natural leaf.
Well, you bring up an interesting
just
point. Yeah. Well, I didn't rule that out last week either.
Yes, they add chemicals.
Just
I
kidding.
think somebody was telling. I think it was the owner of tobacco company Soterra. Greg was saying that they did all these studies and they found that people who smoke cigars on average live longer, make significantly more money, have higher levels of education, and a couple of other
It's true.
things. He was like,
It's
so
true.
if you want to live longer, make more money, and get more education,
Absolutely, right on.
then
Yeah.
smoke cigars.
I mean,
I think part of it too, though, is that
I think part of it is cigars cost a significant amount. Yes.
In comparison, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people who smoke cigarettes are spending good money on that too.
Actually, you could. Yeah, I mean, if you, it's pretty similar. I mean, a pack of cigarettes, especially in Philly, is $12, $13 now.
Wow.
So you could easily smoke a
Oh,
cigar
yeah.
a day for less
Yeah,
than
the
that.
Padron. Yeah,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
that's like a
Right.
good cigar.
Yeah, it's a good
$12.50.
cigar, so you could easily.
Hmm.
Yeah, did you
Well,
notice
so,
those
like,
are all,
Chris, you were-
all Padrones at the end of the clip there today?
What's
Did
the
all
most
Patrons
agree?
expensive
Oh,
cigar?
nice.
What's the most
Yeah.
expensive cigar?
Oh, Philly Chris knows of a pretty expensive
The 75th anniversary ones.
Padron.
Yeah,
What are those, like $100 a stick at the time?
I'd have to look. I think they were around 75, something like that. Mhm.
75.
It might be worth more now, though. All seasoned up.
Eh.
I'm holding
The
on to
most
them for you.
expensive cigar that I've ever smoked was a gift to me from Philly Chris.
Wow.
There we go. Mhm.
Did you at least blow the
Up.
smoke in a rich person's face?
Actually, I'll bring some over next time we get together. I'll bring some with me.
No, that's all right.
Brian says, unless you're in prison, then cigarettes cost you a lot more.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What people will do in prison for cigarettes, yeah. And some hooch. little hooch.
Well, another thing about cigars, though, is that if you're somebody who smokes cigars, hangs out at the lounge, you'll typically find that you meet people from all
Mhm.
walks of life, and people have used that as network opportunities.
It's definitely a very social thing, yeah, compared to, it's not like people get together and hang out and, smoke cigarettes in a lounge. Although the people do congregate outside of restaurants and so there is that kind of social aspect of it, but it's a different, maybe a higher class, I guess, without trying to, say that in a bad way. It's a different
Well, you do meet
type of, yeah.
you meet other people though. How often do you go to a restaurant and then have a conversation with somebody else?
Besides the waiter.
Russ would need
Although I
to
have noticed that only because I, was smoking a little bit over the past few years, there was this whole thing where people would congregate outside of places and.
Oh, for cigarettes?
Yeah, right. It's like a different little social circle. But
Gotcha.
when you're having a nice cigar, like the times we've been down to some of the lounges in the city there, and you're there for 45 minutes, an hour if you
Right.
have a normal size cigar. So it becomes a different, and it is very relaxing. So I think from a health aspect, anytime you can really relax, especially someone
Lower
like
the blood
yourself,
pressure.
who's because you're on the move, you're running 1,000 miles an hour, you're not sleeping a lot, and then if you can get that downtime and get into some alpha wave activity in your brain as opposed to those higher speed brain waves, you are more in a healing mode. There's some
In
scientific
law
research
schools,
behind that. Yeah.
Brian mentioned it is a great way to network cross section of society. We had the professional development office in law school.
Yeah.
You're supposed to try to set you up with people who could help you with your career. I never met anybody through that at all. Much as I tried, I met more people who were successful attorneys, judges, and even businessmen that had connections that would be helpful as an attorney
Sure.
at a cigar shop, at cigar shops than anywhere else. I mean, you sit there. I met the top personal injury guy around, met judges that came in and out, doctors that came in and out. One of the first nights I was living in the new place, went out and smoked at this local cigar shop, and there were 3 guys in there. And we start talking. We have this baseball on. And they're like, "You like baseball?" I was like, "Yeah, I like baseball." And played. You ever play? Yeah, I played a little. I played Oklahoma Baptist. And this guy goes, "Oklahoma Baptist, what's that?" It's like university. He's like, "Is that like a 2-year school or a 4-year school?"
Oh man.
No, it's a 4-year school. It's over in Shawnee. He was like, "Really? Where's Shawnee?" I was like, "That's south of Oklahoma City. It's like 90 minutes from here." And he goes, "Just kidding. Class of '86."
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And he ended up being the owner of one of the cigar shops out there. Great guy. I considered him a mentor. Like, kind of, anytime I wanted to vice bounce something off of him, he was always there for me.
So
But at some point during the evening, he starts asking me where I was from originally, and I told him. And he was like, "New York, huh?" He was like, "We're gonna turn you into a Republican, young man." Clearly, you don't know me well enough yet, sir.
There you have it.
You have nothing to be concerned about.
Nothing to worry about.
I have a
On that-
question now. I have a question before we end the show. I have a serious question. What are we doing not doing the show at a cigar lounge then?
We need to make that happen. Yeah, we should.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple of ideas of where.
All right.
I wonder, Cigars is a very famous chain out this way. I wonder if Tobacco Company would have us. I would love to do it there, out in the Harrisburg area.
I'm sure they would. They said hi today when I stopped in. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Maybe in that back room over in Lemoyne, that could be cool. And the folks over at Cigars have been nice to me out this way. And yeah, it would be cool though. Dave and Greg. Those are they're the first people I really met when I moved to Harrisburg at all. Because we just moved here and it was the weekend, and I saw this sign that said cigars. So I figured, let me go in. And I walked in, and I was the only person in there. Nobody was sitting down smoking. And I just sort of went in the humidor, picked something out, went over to the front, and Greg came walking out. One of them came behind him, rang me up, sit down. And I noticed that I'm like sitting down smoking, and they're like just sort of doing things all over the shop. And I realize I don't think this place is actually open yet. So
Oh,
I
really?
said, "Are you guys, do you guys open right now?" They're like, "Oh no, the store doesn't open for another few days. We're just working here." I was like, "Why'd you ring me up? I don't want to
That's
bother
awesome.
you guys, you know?"
That's cool.
It's
That's
like,
cool.
"You don't
though.
know me. I don't want to bother you guys." They're like, "Nah, we just figured we didn't want to turn you away." So
that's
we
nice,
sit
though.
down,
That
we
tells
start
you-
talking,
Clear.
and one of them asks me what I do.
Mhm.
And I said, "I'm an attorney." And they said, "What kind of law?" And when I'm out there enjoying myself, trying to relax, I don't necessarily feel like getting into a debate about the merits of the Second Amendment and private gun ownership.
Sure.
So I just say, "Yeah, a little of this, a little of that, you know. Just leave it alone. Just smoking a cigarette." And then so they're, "Oh, that's cool." And then these, like 10 minutes go by talking about different stuff. And then Dave said something along the lines of, "Hey, you see, they finally sued them B-words over in Harrisburg for their illegal gun ordinances." And I was like, "Yeah, that's actually my case."
Oh,
Yeah, that just happened to be me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
wow.
Turns out nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
That's all the time we've got for today. Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor David, what? Wow.
It's all right, brother.
My words just slapped the S out of me.
Like Chris
Oh
Rock.
man.
That's
Keep
good
those
stuff.
words out of your mouth.
Yeah. Greatest night in the history of television.
That's right, man. History of radio.
That's all the time we've got for today. Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor David Whitney, Professor of Philadelphia. I'll be joining as your legal analyst. We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you.